Hey everybody, Chris here. Extreme fear in the Dogecoin and crypto markets. What can you do about it? We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my new videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. We have a lot of influencers talking about selling. That's right, de-risking, taking profits, getting out of positions. Is that the right move? It may be for some, but it might not be for all. So let's get into it. Let me show you the charts in the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And we start here with the current Dogecoin chart. We're at 15.7 cents. We are back into my red box. Again, for those who have not been following along, since October 10th, Dogecoin has been trading in a sideways pattern in this purple box until late October, early November, when we had a breakdown again in the price as fear gripped the markets. Tried to recover back into the purple box, but then back into the red. And then with the most recent extreme fear we've had, the red box failed. That's right. We drifted out of the red box. We were talking about that on Monday's live stream, but now we are back in and seeing whether the market structure is going to hold or not. I get it. I get what's going on. Bitcoin dropped all the way down $89,500. That's right. 89.5 on Bitcoin, as it even fell below sort of a short-term downtrending support line that we had also identified during the live stream. So Bitcoin is in the red. Dogecoin is up 3% on the recovery right now. So Dogecoin is actually holding up better than Bitcoin right now, which means they're targeting Bitcoin, my friends. That's right. So we start with what? Good morning. Good morning, fam. I'm sure many are now convinced the top is indeed in. For when? For now? For 2025? We look at the history, which we did during the live stream on Monday. We'll look at it again on Tuesday's live stream, right? History of crypto, history of Bitcoin is up and to the right. Up and to the right. There are pullbacks. Pullbacks sometimes are bear markets, but it always turns around and goes higher. So what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? You can blame me, right? Hashtag blame Chris, right? That's trending. Always trending, right? You can blame me, but I'm just here looking at the charts, trying to figure out what's going on with the news more than just lines on a chart. And so what do I look at first, right? We look at the liquidation heat maps, right? Here we are over the last 24 hours, another $1 billion, another $1 billion of leverage trades taken out of the market, right? Look at Hyperliquid, Binance, OKX, right? These are the big ones, right? They don't want to lose money. Well, they're always making money. They're making lots of profit, right? But they don't want some of their profit to be tapped out and given to degen gamblers who are trading with 10x, 20x, 50x, 100x leverage, right? Trying to get these leverage positions, thinking that the bottom's now in, we're going to go higher, but just buying spot isn't good enough for me. I'm going to do all of this leverage trading, and the market makers see it. They see your trades. The exchanges know what's going on, and they're going to take you out. Bitcoin alone, over $500 million just in Bitcoin. So they're targeting Bitcoin right now. Right? That's why Bitcoin's in the red, Doge is in the green. They're targeting Bitcoin. And that is the story right now. We can look at these, right? It's worth noting. All liquidity has been taken on the downside for Bitcoin. No, Michelle, you have to zoom out a little more. There's a lot more down there, right? If when you zoom out on the heat maps, we look at the heat maps like every live stream. There's more down there. But yeah, sub 92K, well, we just hit 89.5, right? CME gap has been closed. Yes. Trading below the 50-week moving average. Yep, check mark. Doom and gloom, right? Now, it's all going to end, right? Fear and greed, right? Extreme greed now. The sentiment is terrible. I get it. The sentiment's terrible. Michelle says, I don't know whether this thing is low, right? It's going to hit 85. Technical standpoint, the gap between the 20-day moving average and the current price. We can look at all these moving averages. They don't mean anything. The moving averages don't mean anything. So could there be a bounce back up? 95, 100 at least? What's going on? What do I expect? Nobody knows. That's the thing. Nobody knows. We try and look at the data there is and try and make the best decisions for ourselves. You are in control of your decision, right? None of this is financial advice that I talk about, right? You make your own decisions on when to buy or sell. Do you think I'm influencing people by what I say? I'm just trying to open your minds, right? And look at the possibilities that are out there. The shakeout, if it is indeed a shakeout, right? The 4-year cycle believers, right, are like, okay, this is the end, right? This is over. Is the market different this time? Fred says, look, selling with the hope of buying back lower is a fantasy. It sounds smart. It feels clever. Bitcoin moves faster than your emotions do. You won't catch the low. You'll miss the high. You'll stay in cash while Bitcoin then triples. The only strategy that works over a decade is brutally simple. Just stay in the damn asset, right? What is your timeline? If you are looking to buy in, right, and get an instant 10x, 100x, right? Well, then, right, your philosophy is warped, right? You've been spoiled by these crazy crypto moves, mostly by the stupid shit tokens, right? That go on these big runs, and you get spoiled like, that one does a 10x, 50x, I can do that easy. Look at yourself in the mirror. Just look in the mirror. That is the wrong mentality, because that is in a far extreme, slim circumstance that you're going to get that kind of return. The expectation of Dogecoin from 2021, as I have been saying many, many times, right? That was all overhyped with all that Elon Musk stuff. Dogecoin never should have gotten to 73 cents in 2021. Totally overhyped. And Dogecoin may never see that price again. And you have to be ready for that possibility. Look, the goal is not perfection. Why would you buy now when you can buy lower, right? People get this mentality, I'll just sell now and I'll buy back in lower. I'm going to buy Dogecoin at 6 cents, right? Heard that yesterday. Maybe it does go down that low. But because I know the price now, I do not know the price in the future. I have zero expectation of going all in at the perfect price. I have every expectation of buying dips with a long-term view. Long-term view. We look at the history of crypto. Those are the people who make the most money. Yeah, there's a few that catch a ride on a leverage trade, whether it's long or short. But the long-term view wins in the end. Be smart enough to admit that you don't know everything and that you can't predict the future. Be honest enough to admit that hindsight is 20/20 and you would never have actually sold the top or bought the bottom. If you think it's eventually going higher, then you just buy, right? And you've got better prices today than you had yesterday, except for Doge. Doge is up today, right? So far, Tuesday's looking good for Doge. Bitcoin, it did hit 89.5 overnight, yes, right? A little more extreme fear in the market. But look, we've got people like Trader Allen, right? Still, accumulation zone, right? We are in another accumulation zone, which is actually higher than the previous accumulation zone, right? Bitcoin does all this big move up, right? Does this triple top, hits a new all-time high, comes back, right? Profit taking, and then fear, and we are in accumulation zone. Typically, this leads to an uptrend, right? Resuming uptrend going higher. Now, this could get pushed out further to the right because of bear market and all the negative sentiment, but eventually, based on the history of how Bitcoin and crypto has traded, it's most likely going to go higher. We've had a dramatic Q4 for Bitcoin, no doubt. 2017, right? But this little line right here is the December line, and it went higher, right? It went higher. And even in 2021, we hit a new all-time high in, what was it, November timeframe. And then it started to go down. Here we've gone down early, October. This is the earliest we've seen this kind of move for Bitcoin. Now, what does this mean? Is this a temporary, right, pullback because of the fears from the October 10th, flash crash that we had? Yeah, there's a lot of it there. And that is what exposed, to me, the exchanges and the market makers. A lot of other people say, oh, Trump and China tariffs and all this. That's all noise. That's all noise. We got into the data. We looked and saw what was happening. CZ Binance was trying to take out Hyperliquid. It was clear what they were trying to do. It goes all the way back to 2021 when they were trying to take out FTX. They did. When they're trying to take out Luna, they did. That's what all that crap was about then. We just had it here in October. So, pull back now, yes. How long will that last? We shall see. Lark says, look, the Bitcoin monthly structure critical spot. Bulls need to defend the monthly EMA 20. Oh no, we've just gone from the 50-week moving average to the 20-month moving average, right? And it's the EMA, not the S. It's like, it's another line on a chart. I mean, seriously, we're going to defend another line on a chart because we just failed to defend the other one? That's what these guys come up with. It's like, I just show what's happening and what people are saying, but I don't believe that stuff. Zero says, look, I think Bitcoin will bounce to at least 110K before the next leg down. Make sure to cut all your trash holdings on that pump and accumulate sufficient purchasing power for what's to come. In other words, most likely there is going to be a pump. Bitcoin's going to come back up. Some amount. We've seen it before in history again and again. That happens, and particularly it's to take out shorts, right? A lot of shorts are building up here. That's the time you want to look at your positions. Look at the shit coins that you're in. You want to keep holding those? Opportunity to maybe get some of your losses back, or maybe it gets you back in profit. Look at those. Are those long-term holds? Crypto's more of a long-term thing, guys. You can get some short-term returns on some, but that's the time you want to rethink, right? Does it go down lower? Maybe, right? Is it bear market? Maybe. We don't know, but we know we are in extreme fear now. Extreme fear across the market. I get it. Your portfolio's down. I get it. We talk about it in the live streams. I see it all in the chat. I'm one of the few that actually during live streams allow voices to be heard, and I show most all chats, right? I don't show them all because some of them are just like, just whack. But even then I get into some of them. But just don't be a troll right during the live stream and don't do that. Just state your opinion and state why. And typically those that are really, really negative, right, and just say Doge is going to 6 cents, they don't tell me why. Why do you think that? I want to hear that. I want to hear what you're really thinking about that, not just saying Doge is dead, Doge is going to 0, that's dumb, right? Tell me what you really think. I get it. But overall, the market structure, right, although right now we're extreme fear, right? Right now the sentiment is really, really bad. I get it. But over time, it's going to be up and to the right. Because we've seen it again and again. I use these boxes just to show the trend in the trading, right? It doesn't mean anything. It just shows the trend in the trading. And we go back and we look at the liquidations and we look at these, especially over 100K, and we see what's happening. 100,000 in ETH, right? ZEC right now. ZEC is being hugely traded. Big leverage trades, up and down being taken out. And of course, Bitcoin, right? $500 million in Bitcoin leverage taken out. That's where the story is. That's where the news is. That's what I've got for today. Join in my next live stream. Give the video a like. Leave a comment below. What do you think? And as always, please subscribe to the channel. Appreciate your support. We'll see you next time.